Hello guys, good afternoon. You welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia. If you're just seeing me for the first time, thank you, welcome. I'm a Nigerian. I live here in South Africa with my family and I make various content, guys. I'm sure you will like it here on this channel. Please do well to hit on the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, and when you do, hit on the bell sign. That's where you'll be notified of my subsequent videos. Okay, I make various videos ranging from Nigerian South African content, any interesting and important content I feel as though I can bring to this channel, and I usually bring it. I also show you a sneak peek of my life as a Nigerian who lives here in South Africa. I also show you vlogs, so most important and interesting things I show on this channel. I'm sure you will like it here. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Okay guys, so without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you about how I'm raising my Nigerian kids here in South Africa. I'm raising kids. 3 daughters are Nigerians originally, but they were born here in South Africa, and I'm raising them here in South Africa, at least for now, okay? So whenever we are no longer here, whenever it happens, but I'm raising my girls here. So I just want to tell you how I'm raising these Nigerian children to create a balance between being Nigerians and knowing their roots as Nigerians, and also living outside Nigeria, at least in their own case South Africa. So that can give you a blueprint if you're a parent or a mom raising children that you're not raising in your country. And as well apply this, because of course these videos are to educate and teach something. So knowing that everywhere you live in your lifetime, especially as a child, is part of your history. There's no way I will not remember this place I lived in Nigeria when we were young. Like, I remember it like yesterday. I remember the houses we lived when we were young. I remember everything. So that's how it is for everybody, even for adults. Everywhere you lived in is part of your history. That's why if you want to migrate, or if you want, there are some kind of visas you want to make, they will request for what's it called, police clearance, to show how you lived in a country where you lived in. Okay, so it shows that it's part of your history, it's part of your life. There's no way there will be me in future if I leave South Africa and my living in South Africa will not come into play, or people will not talk about it. So it's part of your history, especially where you were born and where you grew up as a child. It leaves a blueprint in your history and in your life. You can imagine Elon Musk. People even say he's a South African, but he's not a South African. He has history affiliated to South Africa. I think his mom, his grandfather came to South Africa when his mom and her siblings were children. Basically, I think his mom was raised here in South Africa, and Elon Musk also lived partly in South Africa, and I think he attended partly some education here in South Africa. So it was part of his history. People say he's South African, he's African and all that because he lived in South Africa. So that's how it is. So but I just want to tell you about how I'm trying to raise my daughters intentionally here in South Africa. So the things I'm doing to give them a good experience living in South Africa intentionally, and to make sure that they are balanced adults, they are healthy adults regardless of anything. So the first thing I did, being that they are kids that were born in South Africa, I tried to give them a South African identity. Not that some people will be like, oh, they are not South. Yeah, I know very well they are not South Africans at all, but I try to give them identity that will, grow with them by giving them a South African name. 3 of them have South African names. I like it. For some reason, I love the fact that I did that. I don't know. I like it, and they love the names and they enjoy it, and yeah. So I gave them the name. I try to give them a sense of belonging. You can give somebody a sense of belonging. A fake or real sense of belonging is children need a sense of belonging. They know that they are Nigerians, okay, but they don't live in Nigeria and they don't know much about Nigeria, but where they live, they need to know more about. They need to kind of have a sense of belonging, at least for the while they live there. So for the while they are living here, they have this sense of belonging of, oh, okay, I was born here in South Africa. So I gave them the name. Although in school they don't bear their Igbo Nigerian name, or they don't bear South African name, it's all in their birth certificates, but they bear an English name. I choose to make it neutral because I don't want people to misspell especially their Igbo name and all that. So they go by their English names, but they know their Igbo names and they know their South African name. It gives them this balanced sense of identity, kind of, because I was watching a video about identity crisis and I'm like, oh, it's like I knew and I did what I did. So even if they don't answer it every day, they have it at the back of their mind that, okay, I was born here, I have affiliation here, and I have a name that belongs here. So that's it. Tell me what you think about this on the comment section, guys. Okay, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video. So another thing I'm doing, I intentionally do as a Nigerian mom who is raising kids in South Africa for now, is I also try to give them South African food. My girls like pap so much, but I don't like pap, honestly. I've eaten pap a few times, but it's not something I gravitate towards, but they like pap. And I try to allow them like pap. They like all those, gravies, all those sauce, all those kind of things South Africans eat. I try to make it for them. I make pap. They don't eat even gari, unfortunately, but I try to force them to eat gari now, because most times pap, I have to start doing the pap, but they eat pap. They eat rice, they eat steaks, they eat veggies, all those things, the way South Africans eat them, beef curry, the way South Africa makes beef curry. My friend, shout out to my friend Ada, she was living here in South Africa, she's now in Australia, but she taught me how to make beef curry when my daughter was young, and I normally make beef, and they say, oh, South African pap. Whenever I say it's time for South African pap, they love it. So I try to, at least, there's a situation whereby maybe when they leave South Africa tomorrow, they'll be like, oh yes, we used to eat my mom used to make South African food, my mom used to make, and even maybe when they go to school, they'll be like, do you eat pap? They'll be like, yeah, we eat pap. That kind of belonging, it psychologically does something to the psyche of children. I study psychology. I know how human behavior comes about and all that. I know how the mind of people work, at least to a reasonable extent. I know that it will help them, when they are talking with kids, it will also help kids accept them. It will also, okay, yeah, you're Nigerian, but yeah. I also, of course, create a balance. I also give them Nigerian food so much. In fact, our staple is Nigerian food. Let me not lie. Our staple is Nigerian food, so they eat it a lot. But I don't try to segregate. Oh, this is South African food. You can't eat it and all that. So I make it for them as much as I can. So that is it. In school, their friends ask them, what are Nigerian foods? They say jollof rice, egusi soup, okwa, oha soup, okra soup, So they eat Nigerian food as much as. So I try to create that balance for their mental well-being and for their well-being while they live here. As long as they live here, it will help them create a balance. But by the time they leave, if they leave, okay, it will also help them connect to their history, which is, when I was born in South Africa, my primary school days until so before I left, that kind of scenario. So it makes them a much more balanced people. Another thing, I make them travel around South Africa. Like, my kids love to travel. They love to fly around South Africa. They love to travel by road. They love all the good resorts. If you tell them, where is the most interesting place you like in South Africa, where is the most interesting place you visited, they'll be like, oh, Cape Town, oh, Durban, oh, when we went to the zoo, oh, when we went. So I try to make them appreciate the beauty of the country. Try to make them love the scenario, the country, like they are living in this bubble, or in this their little bubble of. It's always because I know that it's going to make them a well-balanced adults eventually. So I try to give it to them. They enjoy traveling, they enjoyed sightseeing around the country, they enjoyed eating South African meals. I'll be like, this is chakalaka. Have you yeah, chakalaka. My friend says she eats chakalaka. Let's try chakalaka. All those kind of things. So I try to make them travel. I try to make them eat. I try to, yeah. Okay, so another way I'm raising my kids here in South Africa to make them more balanced, as Nigerian kids, I tell them the history of South Africa. Of course, in school, they tell them, I think it's in life skill or in history or something. They tell them the history of South Africa. They talk about apartheid. Yeah, they talk about those things. Talk about Nelson Mandela, how long he lived, how he spent his life, and how he died, and when he died, and all that. So I try to paint the best picture, the best possible scenario for them, and I try to tell them the black history, the white history. Of course, they go to good schools, honestly, so they teach them those things actually. So when they come with those assignments, we sit and talk about it and chat about it. I try to teach them the South African national anthem. Okay, I didn't try, not me, in school, they taught them, but they asked them to bring it home and practice. I make sure they know how to sing the South African national anthem. I also try teaching them the Nigerian one, but because they don't hear that one often, I don't know if they can still recite it very well, but I've also taught them the Nigerian national anthem. Of course, they are Nigerians. They'll always be Nigerians. Wherever they find themselves, I also, deeply root them in the Nigerian Igbo culture, and they know things about the Igbo custom and tradition as much as their little minds can carry for now. So I try to create a balance raising Nigerian kids in South Africa. Another way I'm raising my Nigerian kids here in South Africa to create a balance and to make them more balanced individuals, I try to encourage them to learn the culture, not so much, but yeah, as much as I can, but especially the language. They learn Setswana and Afrikaans in school. Thankfully, their school is a private school. They say with Afrikaans, but now they've introduced Setswana, and you see the kids, they are so the way they speak Setswana. They use the mother language, they use the accents to speak to Setswana. Oh my God, even when they speak Afrikaans. So I encourage them because I want them to be able to, probably if they leave South Africa tomorrow, they'll be able to say Njani ya pila, Njani ya pila, all those kind of things. Or lekai, talekai. Okay, I think no, ya pila is Zulu, but lekai, talekai, te, all those kind of things. I want them to. I encourage them. I say, yeah, it's good. They have spelling tests in Setswana. They have different things. I say, I hope you're doing well in Setswana. They say, yeah. They'll tell me, Chigo, that girl, she has a flair for language. My first one, she has a flair for language. Even the Igbo language, she knows 90% of Igbo language at least. But I don't think she has a flair for language. But Chigo has a flair for language, and if you see how she talks when she speaks Setswana, so I encourage them to understand the language, speak if possible. Who knows, they can go to somewhere in future and they see a South African, they're able to remember the language and have one or two conversations. That would be fun, right? Okay. Or maybe in future they're able to speak Afrikaans to somebody. That would be fun. It's like connecting you back to your history and to your history, kind of, because there's a situation whereby if you don't let them assimilate things around them here, when they leave, kids forget things easily. They'll just forget everything and be like, you tell them, do you remember South Africa? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I do. But if they leave tomorrow, peradventure, of course, they are not South Africans. If they leave tomorrow, by God's will, peradventure, whatever, however, and whenever, they'll be able to say, yeah, I remember this. My school, we used to talk about this. It will be fun. It will be nice. And yeah, that's what I want for them. Above all, I just want balanced individual, mentally balanced and balanced, emotionally balanced kids. So another thing is, I don't dwell on negative things. I don't tell them negative things about South Africa. Oh, South Africa did this. Oh, this happens. As much as bad things happen, yeah, there are negatives here in South Africa. Of course they are. Of course they are. But I don't recite it to them, tell them, to make them look at their back and always be scared. As much as I try to educate them about the dangers of the society generally, of people not being so kind, and human beings are dangerous and bad things happen, in this world. But I don't try to kind of make it look like, okay, these people are this, or this happens. No. So those are the things I'm doing to make sure I'm raising Nigerian kids in a friendly, sweet South African environment. Tell me, guys, what you think on the comment section. Share your thoughts with me. Yeah, those are all the things I'm doing. But above all, I'm making them love their roots, Nigerian roots. I'm making them desire their roots and want to go back in future if they have to. And yeah, I'm kind of trying to create a balance. Tell me what you think on the comment section. Suggestions, questions, everything. Share, comment, like. Yeah, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.